Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Untapped Podcast. My name is Jacob Gabel.
And my name is Jacob Wurtz, guys. Welcome to episode 144 of the Untapped Podcast. If this is your first time joining us, first of all, thank you. We're thrilled to have you here with us. We've actually got 5 main formats of our show. So first, and this is what we have today, we have Forging Fortitude episodes. Now, in these episodes, we cover the mental side of our brand. So we go over our anecdotal experiences with things like mindset and mentality. We then pass on tips and advice to you guys to then apply to your own lives. Next, we have physical vitality episodes. Now, in these episodes, we really get to showcase our expertise because you have 2 certified personal trainers here. So in these episodes, we cover everything to do with the gym, nutrition, fitness, workouts, mental toughness programs like 75 Hard, Untapped Training, which is alive and well. If you guys have any questions or curiosities about what we offer with Untapped Training, please get a hold of us. We also talk about supplements. I don't know if I mentioned that yet. And then sometimes we'll take trending articles or topics within the fitness industry and give our thoughts and opinions on those. Now, guys, those physical vitality episodes are full of free game, so make sure you pay attention.
By the way, guys, also with Untapped Training, make sure you pay attention with it being the new year. Look out for a lot of stuff with Untapped Training and announcements we're going to have coming up with that too. Mm-hmm. So going to have some cool things coming up for you guys this year. Really excited about it. Now, on to our third format. That is our breaking news format. It is a current event-based format. That is when we sit down and talk about current events, current articles going on in today's world. Keep in mind, we could spend 3 to 4 episodes a week talking about topics that are going on right now. We don't want that to be our entire brand because it would also mentally drain us and it would not be beneficial for you guys because it would be a lot of doom and gloom. We're looking for the positive aspects of this and how to turn our country, the United States especially in this case, and the world around. Now, on to our fourth format. That is our Knights Table format. It is a masculinity-based format. We talk about things like toxic masculinity, if it's real, what it really is, fatherhood, the impact it's had on our lives, and just really solid male topics in general that pertain to how important men are to the world, for that matter. Now, keep in mind, I'm 26. Wurtz is 26. Our producer, Mitch, is 24. Because of that reason, we are not coming to you all put together and on top of the mountain as a man. We will never be at that point. The only perfect man to ever walk this earth is Jesus Christ. Now, on to our fifth format. That is our guest format. That is when we sit down with an entrepreneur, fitness professional, athlete, doctor, somebody with a great story, anybody that brings you value. We end up learning a lot from those episodes, and I can tell you right now, you learn a lot from those as well. Our last one was with Mr. Brock Wilson. Phenomenal all-around episode. We touched on everything from mental struggles to strength training to what the biggest pet peeves are in the fitness industry with Brock. That one is great, and it's also doing really well, especially on YouTube, which is exciting to see. Our last thing to introduce is our producer and my brother, Mitchell Gabel.
What's up, uglies?
Instead of Money Mitch, is it Mustache Mitch now?
Yes.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Elon Musk Mitch.
Yep.
With those glasses on.
Oh, I'm liking the look. Backwards hat, unzipped vest, glasses.
Do I look like a finance bro?
No, he looks like a San Francisco liberal, kind of, actually.
I'd say...
I too like defecating in the street in public. I mean, that's a pastime of mine.
Defecating?
It's convenient.
I mean,
Don't have to find a bathroom.
Nope.
Just go on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
I mean, it's accepted.
Don't have to flush, use water. Really,
Just drop your needle on the side of the road.
it's actually good for the environment because you're not using any water. You don't have to
Right.
flush anything.
Yeah.
You're not using toilet paper.
Right.
So you're
the
just
paper waste is going down.
exactly.
Yeah. You know, maybe they're onto something out there.
It must be.
They're on to something in another country with that too.
Yeah, they throw it around at each other.
That video was disgusting.
If you know, you know. If you don't know, then you probably don't want to know.
Well, we won't elaborate for the new year yet.
Yes.
So that's okay.
Well, first things first, Merry Christmas. We're a little bit late on that, but Merry Christmas, everybody. Hope you had a great holiday with friends and family. I know we all certainly did. And when you guys are hearing this, we're a couple days out from New Year's. It will be 2025.
It's pretty wild, dude.
Crazy.
You also think about it too, which is crazy about the 2025 thing, just random little side note, is the fact that like 2060, hypothetically, we could be closing in on like grandparent years at that point in time.
35 years from now, we'll be,
Like that's wild.
It's insane.
About. Yeah.
It's in like 2060 sounds super abstract and like super out there. And literally it's 35 years away. That's it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Here's something to think about.
Yeah.
2050, right? 25 years from now.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
is as close to us as 1975, 25 years on each side. Isn't that nuts?
Yeah. Jeez.
Wait, what did you just say, Mitchell?
Think 25 years on either side. 2025, right? 25 years.
Okay.
2050 is 25 years away.
Okay.
And then on the other side, 2000, the year 2000 is 25 years away from 2025.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you said 1975 at first.
Well, if you go back 50 years.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
I was like, wait a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
No, it
yeah.
is
No,
weird.
Absolutely.
Because you think of 2000, I mean, we were literally, you and I were two years
Yep.
old, and he was just being born.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's hard to comprehend that, to be truthful.
It is. I
Things
mean,
are starting to speed up a lot.
I was literally just about to say
Yeah.
that. It's like, man, time really does fly. Like it actually does. It's crazy. And like if you don't prepare yourself, like what are you doing with your life? You know, which is kind of the basis here of this episode. And, you know, once the new year turns every year, it's obviously all about New Year's resolutions and New Year's goals. And, you know, there's kind of a negative stigma that can go around with that, like a joking stigma, like, oh, my New Year's resolution, blah, blah, blah.
Or,
and it's like,
or the gym resolutioners,
yeah, right.
stigma and whatnot.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But honestly, like, there's truth to those things. Not the negative aspect, but doing those things. I mean, it's very important to set goals and set resolutions for the year. And, you know, if you wait till January 1 to do that, you're probably behind. But better late than never. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so that's just kind of what we want to talk about real quick with you guys. It's just the importance of sitting down, whether for yourself, for your business, with your business partner or partners, whatever, and, you know, coming up with different things that you want to achieve in this year and also beyond. You know, it's not just 2025 goals. It's, you know, it's weekly goals, monthly goals, yearly goals, and then beyond as well. You know, it's very important because if you don't do those things, you don't have a path that you are putting yourself on. So then you're just kind of freeballing it, you know, and that doesn't get you anywhere.
Yep.
You're not just going to happen upon what you want to achieve.
Success or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Or the body you want to achieve, or the
Right.
health you want to achieve, the family
Right.
you want to achieve, all of it. Yeah.
And you and I, we've talked about that a lot, whether on the podcast here or even just personally. It's like, okay, we need to set a direction for ourselves, you know, and
that always helps when we do too.
it does.
It does.
Absolutely.
It gives you clarity. The
For
same thing
sure.
with our posting. That's probably the easiest direction to make, is like, okay, we need to hit 4 reels on Untapped this week, and then we need to hit 5 to 6 ourselves, or 3 to 4 ourselves, or whatever it is.
Right.
So I think that's beneficial as well, or a vlog every month or whatever it
Yeah.
is. So
And we've seen really good progress in those areas, you know, and have we been spot on every single week with those things? No. But what we have done, like, we see the strides. So we see what can happen, you know, with just consistency on something as simple as social media.
Yeah.
You know, and I know at least for me, there's definitely times throughout the year where I feel almost directionless, whether personally or what we're doing here with Untapped. And so whenever I do, you know, sit down and really think about it, it's like, okay, I need to start coming up with action steps, things I can do every day, every week, every month. And something that has certainly helped me be able to do that effectively is 100% 75 hard, because you have to do that every single day. You know, there's a plan that you have to follow. You have to do these things. If you're actually going to complete a program like that, you have to do those tasks every single day. You have to complete those actions every single day, you know, and then look at what can happen at the end of those 75 days. And then if you do the other phases, beyond.
Yeah, I love that. And I want to go back to the point about the stigma as well, because I think I want to talk about how important it is actually to have New Year's goals, because I see this with clients every year that I've worked with in general population and whatnot. It is 1,000% beneficial to set New Year's goals.
Absolutely.
Because it is an obvious time period to make those goals.
For sure.
You know, it's like, oh, okay, we can see the calendar turning, which again, we could argue about how, you know, some people would argue that 12 months is outdated, or, you know, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
there's probably a small sect of the internet I've seen a couple times that bitch about that type of stuff, or like 24-hour day. And it's like, okay, that's not the point. That's what we have to work with right now. So that time period of, oh, it's the new year, is very, very easy to set goals on, because it's like, oh, I know I need to start on day 1,
Right.
or on January 2nd, or whatever it is, or whatever it is. So I don't think it's beneficial for those of you that are trainers and coaches, and or just anybody on social media that maybe has already made steps toward your goals. I don't think it's beneficial for you to go and hate on people doing the New Year's resolutions. Same thing as when you complain about a commercial gym being busy. It's like, well, that's kind of the point. you want to see a lot of people in the gym. That's
right.
the whole idea of this whole thing. And it's not beneficial to make fun of that. And if you see people doing things wrong, don't be afraid to help them too. It's the same concepts that we've talked about. It's like, if you see people setting goals or talking about it on social media that you're like, okay, I don't think that'll send them down the right path.
Right.
Okay. You can have an honest conversation with them. They might not listen to you. They might disagree with you. That's fine.
Right.
But it doesn't help you to just turn around and be like, oh, that's stupid.
Right.
And that's the only contribution you have to them setting those goals at this point in time.
I mean, we talked about that exact thing with Brock.
Yeah.
We were mostly talking about the back squat. It's the exact same thing. Like, we shouldn't be putting roadblocks or barriers up in the fitness industry, and also too, like, as far as the gym goes, one day was your day one in the gym too. And maybe someone was thinking, it's like, oh, it's so freaking busy in here. Like, look at all these rookies. And it's like, if they would have said that to you on your first day or your first week, how would that have made you feel? Probably not very good.
Yeah, you would possibly quit.
Yeah, exactly. So now if you're thinking that or saying that even, which is completely ridiculous if you actually are saying it to people's faces, to the people that might just be starting out this year, like, don't make them feel that way. They're in there. It's your job to support them, It doesn't have to be directly like,
no, you don't have to support 800 people in the gym or something like that. Of course not.
But you can still give off an encouraging personality.
Yep. Hey, man, I see you getting after it.
Exactly.
Nice
job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because as we've talked about too, I mean, that's the same thing in the gym. You see like the newbies not have great form. That's very normal.
For sure.
I look back at videos when I was 3 years into lifting. My form on certain lifts was still shit at that point in time. My range of motion was trash, that type of stuff. That's fine.
Right.
Now when you see them doing stuff that could injure them, which by the way, rounding your back doesn't mean injury. Some of you might still think that.
Right.
But if it's something like obvious that they're 120 pounds, they're trying to lift 400 pounds, they put it on the bar, obviously. Okay.
Right.
But that's very rare. Usually it might just be like, okay, maybe they didn't go as deep on a dumbbell press they should have.
Right.
Okay, no big deal.
Right.
Like that's something you can work around and you can still encourage them on that.
Right. And don't feel like every single time you see someone doing something wrong, you have to go up and tell them they're doing it wrong. Because again, like you just said a minute ago, it's going to make them quit. Don't do that. Don't be that guy.
You also don't have time to do that.
Yeah, right.
You're going to waste your entire gym session, or in general, like you're going to waste all your time on social media if you're calling out people on there and doing that. It's like, hey, I'll help you, bro. And it's like the 50th person you've reached out to that day to say that. It's like, dude, that's not helping.
Right.
Like calm it down a little bit there.
I will say too, the stigmas, kind of on a different side of the stigmas, a lot of either workplaces or groups, they make New Year's resolutions very cheesy.
True.
Like a New Year's resolution board for the office or something. Mm-hmm. And like, okay, maybe that's useful. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be hating on it because I've never done one. But as an outsider looking at those things, it seems very cheesy. And so there's not much accountability there either, because it's like a fun game that we're doing for the office. Everyone put up a resolution. And it's like, in a way, I think it should be a personal thing. Not that you can't tell people your goals, because honestly, you should. You should tell your people, because then you'll have that accountability. You and I do that with each other all the time, and especially when it's business related too. Obviously that's a time to share.
Hey, we need to hit these goals.
Yes.
At this point in time in the first 3 months of the year, whatever it is. Yeah.
Especially because more often than not, when we're talking business stuff, it's stuff we've come up together. Mm-hmm. It's not just you telling me to do things or me telling you to do things like that. That's also not productive.
Yep. Well, I'm sure Mitchell's company does a very similar things where they set metrics, I would guess, right, Mitchell? Is that true? So I'm sure you guys have not New Year's goals, but metrics you need to hit within certain months.
Yeah, every company has to have KPIs and
and
stuff like that where you have to meet, but whether typically it's revenue based, typically it's a monetary value for most companies. You have to hit X amount of revenue in a month.
And that's holding your team accountable at that point in time too. You guys are working together. Well, I've seen you work with your team just because you work from home. So yeah, it's very productive to do that with your team.
Loser doesn't go in the office. It's crazy.
I keep giving him crap. I'm like, whenever he's married with kids, it's like, you're going to have to change it entirely. You're going to have to make them think, hey, dad's working. Just because he's at home doesn't mean you can come bother him.
I think you can probably stop lying to the audience now. Like you're actually just a streamer. That's what you do.
Yeah.
You just stream at home every day.
One of those hot tub streams, actually.
By himself.
Yeah.
It's like, why is he in a hot tub?
I actually work from the bathroom to get peace and quiet. Now, unfortunately, every once in a while you hit something flush and stuff like that. For the most part, it gets the job done.
Oh man. I don't know.
This must be cybersecurity humor.
Yeah, apparently.
Or high IQ humor, not our level things.
Yeah, maybe not. That might be above us.
Oh, God,
his work buddies would be laughing off their ass right now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they'd love it. Yeah. They're such goofballs, his coworkers. They're awesome dudes. But,
Yes.
But no, back to the goal setting stuff, 100%. It can literally be as simple as like, oh, I'm going to read this many times a week. A lot of people like, and one thing that Jean-Luc, our buddy Jean-Luc, told me about recently, he's like, one thing that I feel like we got away from is that when it comes to reading, you only think of nonfiction a lot of times. When we're in like the first Form S2, the 75 hard improvement aspect of things, we think nonfiction.
Sure.
When actually just sitting down and reading fiction, I'm actually reading a book right now that old part of a series I used to read when I was a kid. And it's very actually like shuts your mind off and relaxes you.
Yeah.
So like, there's even benefit to that. Now, doing that 95% of your reading, probably not the way to do it. But the point remains is like even sitting down and doing that, we've lost that. Reading X or Twitter is not the same as going and reading an actual book.
Definitely not.
No matter if it's fiction or nonfiction for that matter. So that could be another thing, whether it's maybe you feel like you're physically doing really well, as we know a lot of our friends are. They're pretty set in their goals physically, but the mental side just isn't fully there yet. It's like, okay, I need to hit this a week. I need to control my temptation, this week or whatever it is. I need to limit the amount of times I spend time scrolling, that type of stuff too. All of it. All of it. So the goals are 100%. We're basically, you and I are saying is encouraging that.
Yeah.
100%.
Right.
That's how we work with our online clients. We don't have goals for them. We don't have a reason for why they're training. They're not going to stick with us.
Yeah, exactly.
That wouldn't make sense.
Right.
Same as in-person clients that I work with general population. It's like, okay, you want to lose your belly fat. Okay, that's still a goal.
Right.
It might not be we can't target the belly fat necessarily, but the point of the matter is like, okay, we need to take care of your calories and we need to take care of the exercise portion of it.
Right.
Simple.
Right.
Pretty straightforward goal
and specify it too.
Exactly.
Make it very specific and all those things you just mentioned would fit into that category. And if it's a weight loss or weight gain goal, like we've talked about it quite a bit, like make it specific because that's easier to track and easier to attain. If you just say you want to lose weight, what does that mean? Lose 1 pound? Lose 50 pounds? Lose 100 pounds? Like, I don't know. What does lose weight mean? So it's like that.
That's the problem. A lot of the times too, if somebody's, for example, they're just overweight and they're, let's say 230, 240 pounds or whatever, and saying, okay, I'm going to lose 50 pounds, that's very broad. You should really be thinking, okay, within this month, I'm going to lose 5 pounds.
Yeah.
That is actually more beneficial because it's easier to actually track that and then see the results from that.
Correct.
Because even let's say you don't hit that 5 pounds, but you hit 4 pounds, that's a win. That's a huge win.
Absolutely.
You're like, okay, now I can adjust my metric for this next month, and maybe I'm planning on losing 4.5 pounds this next month. Okay, I crushed that and I go to 6 pounds. Oh man, I really won this one.
Right.
So it's a very easy, it's basically like the idea of a snowball going downhill. It just gets bigger and bigger as it rolls down the hill. That's the whole idea. You're trying to create that momentum. But if you are somebody like, I want to lose 100 pounds, and that's it. Right. It's like you need to increment that a little bit. Because otherwise you'll be thinking you're going to lose 100 pounds in 2 months.
Exactly. And 100 pounds can be this up here. Yep. That's the big goal. Okay. Now, month 1 through 12, what are we doing each one? And then it's like, okay, it's the 5 pounds here, it's the 10 pounds here, whatever it is. You're 100% right. 100 pounds seems like this huge monumental thing, which it is, by the way.
It is.
If you need to lose 100 pounds, like that is a big deal, and that needs to be taken care of. But if you think you're just going to lose 100 pounds, like you just said, in 2 months, you're not David Goggins. Okay. What he did is insane in the short amount of time that he did that in. Most people, 99 point all the nines in the world, are not able to do that. And that's okay. That is very much so okay. Let's do it right. Let's break it down. Let's create an actionable plan, and then let's complete those actions. And then that 100 pounds comes a lot quicker than what you think it is.
And then take our weight loss example here and apply it to any other topic.
Literally.
Same thing.
Anything. Anything.
100%. Incremental gains.
Yes.
Is the idea.
Yes. Or losses.
Yes. That's, I guess in the case of weight loss, it is.
So moving on real quick here, we did already kind of mention this last point here a little bit, but the importance of not going goalless either, and it's first of all, it's a recipe for disaster. You know, like we already kind of mentioned, you're directionless, you're goalless, so you're not really following a path. You're not completing actions that you can be happy about each day, each week, each month, and you're not going to see any progress in any areas of your life. If it's I want to lose 100 pounds, but you don't have any goals broken down each week or each month, then you're not going to lose 100 pounds. As a matter of fact, there's a good chance that you gain more weight. You know, it's like, oh, I did good today, so I'm going to eat, really bad tomorrow. It's like, well, you're not doing anything for yourself there. So the importance of not being goalless, which obviously feeds into all those first points we just mentioned, the importance of having goals.
Well, and I think that connects perfectly to the stigma, though, because the stigma is almost encouraged going goalless. A lot of the times, it's like there's all this negative everything around it, and there was that side of TikTok you and I were on for a while where it was like super hardcore, and they were like, just get it done, like that,
how do I do that?
just go David Goggins, and it was all David Goggins edits and whatnot. I'm like, okay, that's only so productive, like you said, for the 99% of the population, that's not really going to be productive at all, there is ways to set yourself apart from that 99% of the population, 100%.
Oh yeah,
that is more of a like couple years in type step.
Yes,
when you get to that point, if you're just at the starting point and you're really just looking at your physical problem, you're like your blood pressure is high, you have cardiovascular issues, you breathe extremely heavy when you're going upstairs. You have to start with goals there. So you have to have set goals, but you can't just have, like Wurtz said, the set goal of becoming a Navy SEAL in 2 months or something like that.
Well, and that's like, we've talked about this some too. 75 hard isn't for everyone.
No.
If you have a huge weight loss that you need to complete, 75 hard is not the place to start because you don't have any of those habits, any of them. Yeah. You don't have any of those down yet.
Nothing ingrained at that point.
Yeah. And that's okay, by the way. That's okay. Because you can get to that, and you can get to something like 75 hard for sure, or something else, or whatever, a different plan, whatever. But, you can't just hop into the hardcore stuff because then you're going to get overwhelmed. You also could get hurt. You may not get progress that you want because it's going to be so overwhelming, so overwhelming for your mind, for your body. Something like 75 hard is supposed to be that. But again, if you don't already, work out once a day to try and get 2 45-minute ones done in a day, all of a sudden out of nowhere.
Even if it's 2 walks.
Even if it's
like,
2
that's
walks.
That's a lot of setting aside time for walks. There.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So also just be aware of where your starting point should be. Now if you're a couple years in or you're, many years in like you and I are, then okay, absolutely 75 hard can be something that is talked about.
Yeah, our goals personally and whatnot. That I know I'm gonna be setting mine over the next few days, where they're gonna look really weird to what the average population would look at. And that's totally okay.
Yeah,
that's just because, again, like you said, my own training, I'm probably, I think if I'm doing the math right, 8 to 9 years in at this point.
Yeah,
so that's a pretty long way in at this point in time. When I was 18 years old, whatever it was, and my goals obviously are going to be different than somebody that is on their first year.
Yeah.
And that's
or their
fine.
20th.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Somebody that's on their 20th year,
right?
They might be just being like, okay, I need to be as much of a lethal dad as I can at this point in time. For example, that's probably what it'll look like at year 20 for me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay, my home gym, I'm going 3 days a week there. I'm going to the field 2 to 3 days a week whenever I have time around our kids' stuff and whatnot.
Right.
All that different type of stuff is way down the road.
Right.
But you're going to have different starting points. Like that would be like Wurtz and I comparing our starting points to Andy. Right. Who's 26 years in the business. Let's set the same goals as Andy.
Yeah.
Let's hit $100 million in revenue within 3 months.
Right.
What?
Let's have, what is it? 7-figure businesses now.
Yeah. Oh. A $40 million car collection. That'll be easy to achieve in a year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No, do not do that.
Might have to like rob a bank or something, but.
Heck yeah.
Is that still happening?
Red Dead?
Mitch, do people rob banks still?
That is a good question.
Like, is that, what are you seeing on the interwebs?
Very rare. I don't think it happens a lot in the U.S.
You mean people don't just like walk in with a mask on, like, everyone give me your money?
No, not. Dang. I don't know how
sick.
common that is.
That idea might be out, I guess.
Yeah. That's because we're thinking of the movie The Town with Ben Affleck and Jeremy
Whose
Renner.
car we taking?
Yeah.
So sick.
It's such a sick movie. It's just not realistic.
Do you think, Mitch, and I want your honest opinion here. This is very serious. Do you think the three of us could rob a bank?
No.
FBI.
We're
Federal
what
agent.
kind of, no.
I'm just asking.
We
dude.
are upstanding citizens who very much so love the great United States of America. And
Good point. Well, I didn't say we had to do it here.
what?
Oh, we can go to Canada and do it or something.
Oh, well, I mean, that would be.
Canada, they would just hand the money to you.
they just give it to
I mean,
us.
come on.
True.
You brandish like a pencil as a weapon. They'd be like, yeah, you can take it.
Pencil. Joker style. Let's
Seriously.
put a smile on that face.
Oh, man. So good. So good.
All right. Back on track here.
Back on track,
You guys
back on
are,
track.
Mitch is getting us off track
Yeah,
here. It's
come on.
ridiculous.
Come on now.
My gosh.
Yeah. But no, that is a really good point, though, because you're right. Like, the idea of $100 million in revenue doesn't even seem comprehensible to us.
No,
in
not at all.
In any sort of way right
And it would
now.
be very discouraging, too.
Extremely.
Yeah.
Because if we set the goals to do that in a year, or we have to be there in 5 years even
Yeah.
and whatnot, just only looking at the 100 million number is very scary. It's very daunting
Right.
and whatnot. So it's like, what steps do I take? And that's where that reverse engineering Jeff talks about comes into play, because you can then break that down. Let's say you do have $100 million. That's going to take a lot, as Andy talks about in his episodes and whatnot. It takes a ton of commitment. But let's say your goal is more like, okay, by the time I'm 30, I want to be closing in on that million mark. That seems pretty easy to break down to me.
Absolutely.
I mean, that seems pretty clear, I
Yeah.
would say, because that's when you would have to step back and be like, okay, well, we'll have to add this many clients this month. And then that's the first month we're starting there. But by the time we're on our 6th month, we could be going to here with this many clients and whatnot. Okay, well, we're reaching out to this many people a day. Okay, perfect. Then we're jumping. And then, so you break it down to these small little steps.
Right.
It becomes much more feasible. We actually just did this recently this month on some of our client goals for our untapped training and whatnot, where we literally put the most simple and clear, like, hey, we're going to reach out to this many people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was that simple.
And we've also talked about, okay, we're going to reach out to these brands, see what kind of partnerships we can work up.
Exactly.
And, different percentages and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, okay, like now we got to make it happen.
Those are actionable, and
Yes.
they're things we can make happen.
Yes,
That's the big
exactly.
thing there. Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. Have goals, create actionable plans with them, and do not go goalless.
Yeah. Simple.
It is. It's very
Straightforward.
simple.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're going to crush the New Year's, guys. I'm
That's
excited
right.
about it.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Let's go.
Us and you guys as well. All right. So at the end of all of our non-guest episodes, usually Mustache Mitch will ask us a Q&A question that's submitted by you guys, the listeners or the viewers. And we have a few different ways that we would like you guys to submit those to us. So number one, you can DM them to us on Instagram at untapped.llp. You can also DM them to us individually or text them to us if you have our numbers. You can email them to us. Our email is extricationfitness@gmail.com. I know it's a mouthful. There is an email button in our Instagram and our Facebook bios. So you can email them in to us, or you can leave them in the comments of our YouTube videos. All these podcasts are on YouTube, along with our vlogs are also on YouTube as well, which those will be, or we have plans for one actually coming up here very soon.
Yeah, 100%.
Very excited about. And then on Instagram and on TikTok, we post clips from the podcast episodes and sometimes some other forms of content as well. So you can leave them in the comments on those as well. All of them get sent to Mustache Mitch, and then he picks one out that pertains to the episode. Sometimes it's just a question you guys have. It doesn't have anything to do with the episode. Sometimes they're funny. And then every once in a while, Mitch will actually come up with one on his own. We're not going to do a question today because we just wanted to talk about the goal setting. But
keep it digestible for you guys.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But those will be continuing on our non-guest episodes. Guys, until next time, peace and love.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Is a tough climb.